You know, I have been asked many times to tell the story of how Money Matters came about and, the history of our company and how we came to where we are today. And so I've been asked this so many times that I thought I would make a video that would preserve it for posterity, if you will. And so I'm going to take this story back to when I was, actually to when my mother was 19, okay? And this was in 1940. And she inherited, in today's money, the equivalent of about $250,000 from her uncle. And she decided at that time, when she was 19, that she was going to invest that money and never have to work again the rest of her life. She decided that if she was ever going to work, it was going to be because she wanted to do whatever that work was, not because she needed to have the money to do it. And so she understood back then, and keep in mind back then, women didn't manage finances very often. So this was a very pioneering way of thinking. But be that as it may, she set about a course of educating herself and becoming as knowledgeable about investing money as she possibly could be. And she actually achieved that goal. In my lifetime, the whole time that I knew my mother, she never worked because she needed the money. She had jobs teaching bridge, she had jobs teaching tennis, she had all kinds of real estate. She sold real estate for a while, but she just found that fascinating. She did all of those things not because she needed the money. Well, in the process of her educating herself, she had this young man, this young boy actually, which was me, that she took with her to all those seminars that she went to, okay? So she would go to bond swap seminars, no money down real estate seminars, all those shorting the market seminars, and guess who she dragged along with her? Me. So if you can imagine a 16-year-old at a bond swap seminar, that was me, okay? And so over the years of attending all those seminars that she forced me to go to, some of the speakers were very interesting and engaging, and I learned there. Others were really boring, but through osmosis, I kind of got all that. It sunk in. So to a great degree, I guess my mother kind of bred me to become a financial advisor eventually. She also taught me the importance of saving what a percentage of what you make. And throughout my whole life, she made me initially do it. I've kept that habit. I have saved 20% of everything that I've made ever throughout my whole life. I've always done that because of my mom. Part of that education also was that she made me invest the money, so I was investing it also. And I remember in 1973, 74, during that period, a lot of you may remember that, we had a terrible time in the United States. Our economy was on its back. We had massive problems with real estate and the banking system. We had inflation went rampant in the late 70s into the 80s. We had a terrible bear market. The market went down 65%. So we had terrible times. And I remember the stress that my mother endured during that time, seeing her investments drop dramatically the way they did. So back then is kind of when I was a kid, but this whole idea of staying in the market when it's going down thing, I didn't have a lot of money invested, but I still felt a little bit of the pain, but certainly seeing my mother experiencing it and the stress and anxiety, because again, she wasn't working for the money. Her investments were doing that, and here her investments were losing mass quantities. So that was very stressful for her at that time. Fast forward to 1987. At this point, again, I didn't have tons of money, but I did have what I thought was a lot of money. It was all the money I had anyway, and I had it invested. And once again, we saw the stock market take a deep dive. And that was the moment when I finally said to myself, I don't really think that buy and hold is a good strategy at all. It never made sense to me. It's what you are taught in financial planning school, and I was going through that process at that time. Everybody's telling you that that's what you should do. Your job as a financial advisor is to counsel clients, to stay in. You're essentially their psychologist, so they don't commit suicide because they're losing so much money. Your job is to keep them sane and make them feel okay about losing all that money. Well, that didn't make any sense to me at all. And so when 1987 came and I personally endured a 25% loss of the money that I had been saving all this time and investing, that kind of brought it home to me. And that's when I seriously started looking for, how do I not do that? What are some ideas and strategies to not do that? And when it really came to light for me was I was at a conference, financial planning conference in Las Vegas, and there was a presentation on bear markets and those kind of things. And one of the speakers there was showing all these different charts of what bear markets look like and how they behaved. And one of the things that he had on there was the genesis of our exit strategy, which I won't go into the detail of, but every slide he put up there had what eventually became our strategy on it, but he never talked about it. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, every single time, every bear market, it predicted every one of them that he's showing up on those slides. So I went back came back to Dallas, and of course this was before the internet, and so I liked that strategy that I thought might work. And so what I did was I went to the library and I photocopied the closing price of the stock market going back to 1929. So this was 19,000 trading days, and it actually was in the library. I found it. It was several different places actually. And then what I did was I took all that data and I entered it into Lotus 123. Some of you may remember Lotus 123. That was before Excel. And I entered it all in there. I put our exit strategy formula in there, and I made it a variable so I could play with it. And through the process of going back and forth, I basically came up with the final version of what I thought would be a viable strategy to use. Now, of course, I had never implemented this with a client. I'd never used it on myself. I'd never done it. So this was great. But I know, as you do, that when you backtest something and it worked in the past, that doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. So I was confident that because it's mathematical that it would work, but I was not 100% confident. Well, now I'm in my career and I'm doing things, and we have the Y2K bear market came along. And of course, our trigger with our strategy was hit on October 12th of 2000. Which was just before the market really tanked. The tech bubble had kind of burst earlier than that, but the overall market, the S&P, didn't start truly tanking until right about where our trigger was hit. And so at that time, we had clients, and we did move some of our clients out, but because we'd never done it before and we didn't have the confidence in it, we didn't do it with everybody. But as the bear market got worse, we slowly moved more and more clients out of the market. But it validated that the strategy would have worked had it been fully implemented. So then we fast forward again to 2007. Now at this point, in November of 2007, we had full confidence in our strategy. It worked. Had we implemented it fully, it would have worked even better. But anyway, so in 2007, when we hit our trigger, we told all of our clients we're getting everybody out right now. And I'll never forget that day when it happened. It was a big deal. So we implemented it, and for the clients that did what we asked of them, and we got them out of the market, we did not participate in that bear going forward. So a little bit of a background as to where our strategy came from. And we have since asked outside parties to validate our strategy because, one of the things about your own strategy, is that it's your baby. And of course, we all love our own baby. We think our baby is beautiful. But, this is going to sound harsh, but not all babies are beautiful. There are some you look at and you go, ah. And so we gave our baby to outside people and said, you guys take the strategy and poke holes in it. Tell us what's wrong with it. And no one that we've had look at our strategy has been able to tell us that it's a bad strategy. The only thing they've been able to tell us is that what could happen is that you could have a false alarm, and if you do, you will underperform. Well, you know what? We can live with that. I would rather underperform than lose 50, 60% in a bear market. To me, that's an easy trade-off. It's a no-brainer for me, and I think it is for our clients as well. So that's kind of a history of Money Matters. Where we go from here, God only knows, but hopefully it's upward to great things. And thank you for watching this video.